The base is dropped. Soccer down here, or distraction down here, whatever you want to call it today. We're here for you. It's what we do. We got lots of soccer to talk about. We've got 6 MLS matches tonight right now, and we believe all of them will be played. You might look at the MLS website and count 5. That would be because less than 24 hours before a match is supposed to kick off, last night, very late on the East Coast, kind of late on the West Coast, they said, yeah, LAFC and San Jose are going to play. It's going to count. Like, real points are on the line. It's a real game. So there's 6 games tonight. Okay. We'll talk about all the reasons why things matter tonight. We'll get you set up for all of that, what it means for Decision Day. Miguel Herrera, a manager a lot of people have talked about. He has talked about MLS and what he wants to do if he is to leave Club America. We'll get into that. We got Champions League to talk about. We got Copa Sudamericana to talk about. I want to address something really quickly with Champions League because there was some talk about kombucha juice boxes. I want to make something clear when we are talking about these games. I think it is, but sometimes it needs to be reminded. The Liverpool-Atalanta game, first off, there is a tweet that I want to ask people's opinion of about Atalanta. But in our Soccer Over There special about Champions League and everything going on, I said I would put kombucha juice boxes, which I don't drink, I'm not really a fan of, on Atalanta because the odds were super high. I didn't say I thought they would win. I thought that there was a chance, and I would throw a juice box that I don't really care for on that game. So if I lose it, I don't really care. That does play into when we're talking about some of these games. So keep that in mind. Liverpool was better than I expected. Don't get me wrong. They were outstanding in their big win. But plucky upstarts, let's relax a little bit, guys. There's some fun games with the juice boxes and Halloween candies and soon-to-be Thanksgiving side dishes. It's fun. It's fun. It's not an actual... Because a lot of times when we get into it, we'll say this, like, well, I think this team's going to win, but that's a really good number, so maybe we'll throw a little something over here. Just keep that in mind. It's all good. Couple things about that game before we get into the question about Atalanta that'll kick us off today. So, Diego Jota with the hat trick, outstanding. I do want to see how Jurgen Klopp manages that attacking group as the season goes on. Which personnel becomes his preferred, because he's going to have some competition for spots there. You got another good performance from Reece Williams, center back, from the academy. I think you had another academy player in the team as well who played well yesterday. Atalanta's 12 Champions League matches have seen a total of 48 goals, 4 per match. They've scored 23, they've conceded 25. That's insane. That's the highest number of goals per match for any team with more than 10 games in the competition. That's nuts. Now, Connor Clancy, who is an Irishman who covers Serie A based in Italy, he put a question out there that I thought was really interesting, and I would like to hear the takes on it, because Atalanta is not Juve, it's not Inter, it's not Milan, it's not Roma, the way they're looked at. They are the true plucky upstarts. They are the team that everybody likes because there's a bunch of goals in their games. But Connor puts this tweet out. It's time that we stop accepting Atalanta's occasional capitulations as, quote, just something they do, unquote. They're good enough now to be held to higher standards, and if they iron those issues out, they have it in them to win something. When does a team in the Atalanta situation, the plucky upstarts, they're the underdogs that everybody enjoys, when do they cross over into that, where it is, you're too good to be a plucky upstart anymore. You're too good to be giving up games in this way. You're too good to be giving up 5 goals. I think Connor's 100% right. You can't be as good as Atalanta has been for as long as they have been, and it's not years and years and years and years, but they're a good team. Good teams don't lose the way they did yesterday. That can't be acceptable.
I'm processing it, and I'm trying to think of it. I was going to say after this season as my answer because of this being a full year, and I guess I'm probably taking COVID-19 as a part of the discussion in this, where you have a team that made the run they did in the European theater. And this is that next season of doing that. Can you repeat what you did the year before, managing schedule compression, roster, all that other kind of stuff? Or was last season a standalone? I think that after this season, I would have a better gauge, and then I would say after this year would be when I would have that answer as to, no, you're no longer a plucky upstart.
No, I disagree, because they had to get into Champions League the year before. So it's not like they magically appeared in Champions League. They didn't just suddenly show up and say, yeah, we're kicking the door in, we're here. Oh, did you qualify? No, we just showed up. So it's not just 1 year. You know, I mean, let's go back to last year where things finished for them. Third in Serie A, round of 16 in Coppa Italia. They had their Champions League performance. Okay, the year before, third in Serie A. Coppa Italia runners-up. They were in the Europa League. The year before that, 17-18. Seventh, semifinals of Coppa Italia, round of 32 of the Europa League. This is a team that's been in Europe multiple years. Yes, the Europa League and Champions League are different. This is a team that has been top 7. They were 4th in Serie A in 2016-17. So, you know, I mean, you're going back to be outside of the top 7. You're going back to 2015-16. There has to be bigger expectations for them. It's not right to say, well, after this year. No, that's what, John, don't do the back and forth thing with me here. You said after this year. I disagree. I think they've already went far past that.
Right.
You've had multiple top 4 finishes in Serie A. You have to progress at some point. It can't be accepted that these things just happen. This is Atalanta. This is what we do. That's not good enough anymore.
I'm not denying that this season they've hit that wall, because I've had this discussion with you guys on Soccer Over There.
We're not talking about the wall. That's not the no. The question is, should they be held to a higher standard? Yes or no? I think they should, because they've been here long enough to understand that. They know what the standard is now, and if they can't hit it, that's on them.
No doubt. It is definitely on them if they can't handle it. I'll grant you that, yes.
The wall's a different topic. That's a different question. Have they hit a wall? Yeah, I do think they have. You know, are they having issues with the amount of games they have with the squad they have this year? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But Connor Clancy's quote here is, when it's time to stop accepting Atalanta's occasional capitulations as just something they do. I agree. They have proven over the last 5 years that they are among the best teams in Italy. The best teams don't have these things happen. They don't give up 25 goals in 12 Champions League games. You can't be among the best teams when you're doing that. If you're going to be there and your results have put you there, you have to be better. There has to be an expectation that it has to be better.
Well, I would imagine that there is a self-expectation that they have to be better.
Self-expectation. I think what Connor's saying is not the self-expectation. I mean, of course, they're playing the match. They want to do better. It's the expectation from the outside. There should be a higher standard. They should be held to that higher standard. That's where I think it is.
Yeah.
If you disagree, that's fine. I'm not telling you to agree.
I'm just, like I said, I'm taking the context of this competition year and including that in my answer. Basically, I would think that all things being equal, all things being normal, this is not a normal year of competition,
mm-hmm.
And so that's where my answer is based more than anything else. I'm taking that as a part of my context when it comes to why I'm saying what I'm saying. If everything was normal, everything was, hunky-dory, say 2018-ish or whatever, then I would be with you in your answer. I'm just taking this year in context, being what it is, and qualifying my answer for one other year down the road. I'm kicking the can, basically, is what I'm doing. I'm kicking the can for another season because of what this is.
That's what I was trying to get to. Yes, that's fine. I do think they can't have these ups and downs. The ups and downs have to go away for them. It just has to. We'll see. But Liverpool does what they are supposed to do yesterday. What else stood out to you about Champions League yesterday?
What's
the
For those watching on Twitch, I'm just going to go ahead and show this right here.
No, they're dead to me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what else stood out to me.
They're dead to me.
Oh, that was awful.
Shakhtar
done. Was awful yesterday.
I have no more belief in Shakhtar. I have to give a ton of credit to Borussia Mönchengladbach. 6-0 on the road.
Yeah.
The trip to Russia, Ukraine, we got one of them right, Lokomotiv and Atleti. That was difficult. Lokomotiv Moscow gets the draw. Bayern with 4 goals in the last 15 minutes to beat Red Bull Salzburg. Yes. We're having the conversation about Atalanta. You're talking about a team in a higher league. You know, they should have the expectations. I think maybe people are putting those expectations on Red Bull Salzburg because of a result like this, which isn't as fair, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're in a lesser league. They don't get this level of competition on a regular, and I think the effects of the crazy coronavirus year are hitting them harder, and you saw it in the way that they capitulated yesterday. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Madrid 3-2 over Inter. That game lived up to the hype.
Crazy match.
Lived up to it. City 3-0 over Olympiacos. No surprise. Porto 3-0 over Marseille. Marseille has set kind of a dubious mark now.
Yeah.
Bayern set a good mark yesterday. Marseille set a dubious mark. So Bayern on their end, they have won 14 straight. Yeah, 14 straight in Champions League. Marseille, they have lost 12 straight in Champions League. They're probably going to go out, but Andre Villas-Boas had a very good point. He is 100% accurate with his point. This is what he told RMC in France. In order to be ish in the Champions League, you have to at least qualify for the Champions League. We did it, and we are being ish. And he, of course, did not say ish. I'm assuming he said something in French that we are changing to ish.
Yes.
He's right. I mean, you know, you got to get there first, and they have, but they've lost 12 in a row in the Champions League. Is no good for Marseille. What else do we have yesterday? The other one, Ajax overcomes some issues with COVID. They get the win 2-1 over Midtjylland. So, today, early games, Manchester United and Başakşehir in Istanbul. Zenit hosting Lazio. Those are our early kickoffs. What are the numbers looking like? I don't know if we even really want to look at numbers based off what we've been seeing over the last 24 hours, but let's hear them anyway.
Okay, well, yeah, this is juice boxes and not pollsters.
No, I was talking about juice boxes as well in that comment that you took somewhere that the juice, but no. The juice box numbers on things that included pollsters have been all over the place too. That was the point. Go ahead.
On the hour, they changed. Manchester United minus 245. Başakşehir at home a plus 730 to win. And your draw is a plus 385. Zenit and Lazio. Zenit a plus 147. Lazio is a plus 200. And your draw is a plus 237.
Okay, so one long trip got a draw yesterday. One didn't have any effect. I don't know which one here has the better chance for the surprising result. I'm going to go with Zenit as the more likely to pull something here because Lazio's got some issues with their squad. Yeah. So what were the numbers on Zenit to win and draw?
Zenit plus 147, draw plus 237.
Yeah, I'll go Zenit to win, and I'll go Manchester United to win.
Yeah,
those are my picks of what's going to happen. Yeah, I did ask for the numbers, so I want to make that clear. I still think Zenit will win, and I think Manchester United will win. So those are my two picks for that. 3 o'clock, we got Barcelona and Dinamo Kiev. We got Ferencváros and Juventus. We got Club Brugge and Dortmund. We've got Sevilla and Krasnodar, Chelsea and Rennes, and RB Leipzig and PSG. We're not going to go through all the numbers here, but let's hit the big ones for people who are listening. I know we have some of the Chelsea folk in the house. What are the Chelsea numbers with Rennes?
Minus 323 to win. Rennes a plus 925. Your draw is a plus 465.
Chelsea should win. I mean, there's nothing to throw stinky juice boxes on there. Chelsea should win. It's good. Brugge and Dortmund.
Dortmund minus 169 in the aggregate. Brugge plus 474, and your draw is a plus 330.
I am going to, because I like the juice box numbers, because I don't really know who's going to win this one. Because I like those numbers, I am going to take. We're not going to go to side dishes yet, so it is a juice box. As I usually tell you when it comes to this, I'm not a cranberry fan, so I'll go with the cran apple on Brugge, because I think Dortmund might be looking ahead to their Klassiker this weekend.
I could see that, but I think that Dortmund wins, but I think it won't be the prettiest win in the world, probably 1-0, 2-0, something like that.
The two that I think most people are looking at in the 3 o'clock hour, Barcelona hosting Dinamo Kiev, and we've not heard about any additional positives for Dinamo. There were differing reports out of Spain, and I don't think there's been actual clarification that I've seen on if they were missing 13 players or if they sent 13 players. It's been back and forth. They've got a lot of people missing from their usual squad. We know that much. Barcelona does get Ter Stegen back in goal today. They've had lots of issues. They should win today. What are the numbers?
Barcelona minus 1250. Your draw a plus 1137 in the composite. Dinamo Kiev is basically a plus 2800.
Yeah, Barcelona. And then the game that I think could be the best one of the day, PSG, a very weakened PSG, is on the road at RB Leipzig. What are the numbers looking like here?
RB Leipzig plus 145, PSG plus 190, and your draws a plus 260.
Okay, the numbers have caught up on that one a little bit, I think. PSG's missing Mbappe, Neymar, Verratti. Who else are they missing? I think Icardi's missing, I might be wrong on that one. They were missing like 4 or 5 regulars, so Leipzig to win. I think they win, and I think the number's good, so go for the win for Leipzig in my guess here.
Yeah, I'd go with that one as well. I'll agree with you where PSG is concerned. It's basically who is there instead of who isn't there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how that one plays out, but I do think Leipzig gets it done. Okay, that's your Champions League to look for today. I'm wearing the Defensa y Justicia shirt because they play this evening. They are in the Copa Sudamericana. Last night in South America, River Plate looked very poor against Banfield in the rescheduled game from the Copa Liga Profesional de Football. They lost 3-1. You had some Sudamericana games where Bolivar goes through. You had Unión La Calera go through on away goals. Now, Defensa plays at 5:15 today. They are up 2-1 on aggregate, and they're at home in the second leg. They should be pretty good to go through against Sportivo Luqueño from Paraguay. Do you have numbers on that?
Why, yes, I do.
Yes!
Okay. The Juice Box folks are pretty confident about this one. Defensa right now is a minus 295 at home.
Yes!
Luqueño is a plus 775, and your draw is a plus 380.
I think Defensa gets it done. They did not look good in League or Cup League or League Cup or whatever you want to call the stuff. They didn't look good there. They played well, but they got hit on the counter. They did rotate their lineup in that as well, I think, looking ahead to this. So I think they'll be fine. They'll get through. The big game of the day in South America might be the one of the other 5:15s here in Sao Paulo hosting Lanús. Now, Lanús won the first leg 3-2 in Argentina. Lanús, as everybody knows, that's where Marcelino Moreno just came from. They're figuring out how to play without him. They still have 40-year-old Jose Pepe San scoring goals up top, which is madness. That should be a fun one to watch. 7:30 Caracas hosting Vasco da Gama could be another one to keep an eye on. Peñarol hosting Vélez Sarsfield. That was scoreless in the first leg. The two Colombian sides, Deportivo Cali and Millonarios, playing at 7:30. You got some good games in South America to watch tonight. That's all on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. It's on the BN family of networks as well. So all of that is available for you this evening if you are still looking for distractions, which we might be. Good games, though. Good games all day. So starting about 12:55, it's just like run them straight through. I mean, I will be, let's see. So the early games in Champions League, I'll probably watch Manchester United, probably watch the Golazo show. 3. If things get squirrely in one of the games, I might go to it. The Leipzig game's the one I'm kind of leaning towards. 5:15 Defensa. 7:30, I will probably pick the Peñarol-Vélez match because anytime you get an Argentine club and an Uruguayan club playing one another, you could get fireworks. Yes. So, yeah, I'm set. I'm good. And I'll be keeping an eye on Teisei all day. If you haven't seen, things really went all over the map yesterday with Diego Maradona. So, in the morning, his doctor came out and said things are really good. Good night in the hospital. He's feeling well. He wants to go home. We're going to keep him under observation for a little bit. They didn't really get into a lot of detail. They talked about dehydration. They talked about anemia, which I'd actually forgotten that he suffers from. They talked about depression. Those were all things that were talked about in the morning. Then it came out, like really suddenly, that he was going to have surgery for a blood clot on the brain, a subdural hematoma. That's something that develops from head injuries. It can, I think, develop from older head injuries as well. So, everybody kind of freaked out about this. And, I mean, the scenes in Buenos Aires, like taking him from, or not in Buenos Aires, sorry, in La Plata, taking him from the hospital he was at to the clinic where he was going to have the surgery. I mean, people were popping smoke as the ambulance was driving by. Like, I mean, they were cheering him. Like, it was like everybody supporting him. But wow. Right now, I mean, they are probably hundreds of people outside the clinic, like just waiting for updates. I mean, last night, the doctor came out after the surgery to say that it went well and he was resting comfortably and all that. And as the doctor finished speaking to the media, first everybody had to yell at the fans to stop singing and chanting so they could speak. And then after he spoke, I'm watching it, and it was one of the wildest moments I've seen in a situation like this. An older woman who was kind of towards the back of the crowd, as the doctor was turning and going back inside that way, the older woman came up to the doctor and, like, hugged him to thank him, and, like, other people were patting the doctor on the back. They were cheering for the doctor. Like, it's crazy. But it sounds like everything is going well. He's recovering as he should be right now. They said the surgery wasn't as scary as maybe you would think about a blood clot on the brain. I guess there is a major difference between a subdural hematoma and an aneurysm kind of situation, which that was kind of where my head first went. So it looks like he's going to be all right. Any kind of surgery you're worried about because of his health in total. So looks like it's going to be okay. He is still in the clinic recovering. And they'll be talking about it all day, every day, until he is back home on Teisei and in Argentina. It is the news of the day. Leo Messi on his Instagram sent a message of support. Everybody has been, sending out the hashtag Fuerza Diego. I mean, it's been a lot of talk about all this, but it sounds like things are heading in the right direction.
Fuerza Diego.
Absolutely. Looks like he's going to be okay, and looks like he'll be getting home soon to continue to rest and recover. All right, we got MLS to get into because it is a big day in the MLS front. 6 games.
Well, before we get there,
yes.
real quick, from last night in Concacaf League, the late night match with Marathon and Antigua after Forge went to Panama and got the win. So the team from Hamilton, Ontario advances.
Wait a minute, I think I need to play this for you. Bonus Conca Cinco con John Nelson.
Won't be quite Conca Cinco,
That's
but
fine.
last night Forge knocked off Tauro on the road. So big win for the team out of Hamilton, Ontario, 2-1. They were a plus 229 underdog on the road. Marathon and Antigua go to penalties. Marathon out of Honduras wins it 2-1. My question to you, sir, and to the floor, if anyone else watched this on FS2, which is where you can watch your CONCACAF League matches, and there are more today.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen a worse-looking pitch because of all of the rain ever in your life, and where was it?
Columbus.
Where was it?
Columbus.
Oh, yes.
Easily Columbus.
Yes.
Not even close.
I mean,
and
there were...
It was bad. At least it was bad. Consistently bad across the board. Like, Columbus was bad in spots. That was more frustrating.
But, yeah, that was quite the waterlogged pitch last night. 3 matches today. Alajuelense, big favorite against Cibao, and that's the makeup from the last round because of the inconsistencies with the testing procedures. Saprissa and Municipal out of Guatemala is your 8:15, and your 10:30 is Alianza and Motagua. So late
that'll be
night
a good one.
Conca Cinco is going to be the best one of the day
at
10:30.
There we go. Now I'm set 12:55. I'm set for 3 with the Golasso show. I'm set for 5:15 with Defensa. I'm set for 7:30 with an Argentina-Uruguay battle. And now I've got late night Central American rivalries. I mean, good grief. This is going to be a lot of soccer today.
Locked in. Okay, MLS, proceed.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get that in last night because that was late night. That was Conca Cinco after dark, and I wanted to get that in.
And that's all the international stuff. That's not even talking about the MLS stuff that we'll be watching. It starts at 7:30. Here's each of the games. Here's kind of what they mean. We'll talk about what the juice boxes are telling us as well. Orlando hosting Columbus is your first game of the night, 7:30. Both are already into the playoffs. No worries there. There are seeding implications. Columbus is 3rd. Orlando is 4th. Both are on the same number of points. Both are on the same number of points per game. Whoever wins will move into 3rd, at least for the night. Columbus has a chance to continue to chase the Supporters' Shield, I'm assuming here, according to MLS. We'll see. I think in Orlando gets the win. I do.
Juice boxes, plus 104, Orlando City. Columbus Crew, a plus 246 in the composite, and your draws a plus 265.
Yeah, I think Orlando wins it. I do.
Yeah.
Also, as Bernd Dursberger tells us, as we're talking about all the games you can watch today, I keep forgetting that the Copa Brasil is on FS2 as well, 7:30 Flamengo and Atlético Paranaense.
Cool.
Yeah. I will have, let's see, I got 3 screens easily that I don't have to do too much craziness to have going. So at 7:30, I'll have Orlando and Columbus on one. So I'll have an MLS screen in one of my 3. I'll have probably a Fanati screen on one, and I might have an AT&T TV screen on the other, and that would be the FS2 games. So, yeah, I think I can make that work. The MLS screen, and sorry Orlando fans, sorry Columbus fans, will be switching at 8 o'clock to Minnesota and Chicago because this game is critical in Atlanta's playoff hopes. So, Minnesota's going to the playoffs. They're the number 4 right now in the West. They could possibly get to 3. They're probably pretty good at 4. Chicago does not have a spot in the playoffs as of yet. They are at 1.05 points per game. I have seen nothing to indicate this game won't get played. Anything can happen in 2020, as we are finding out on so many fronts today. So, things can get weird, but it is supposed to be played. That would put everybody in the East on the same number of games played. You don't have to worry about points per game at that point. You're just looking at the points. That'd be great. Chicago has a bunch of teams chasing them. They need this win, but they're in Minnesota for it. So, if Chicago wins, it takes away some of the margin of error for Atlanta. It doesn't eliminate Atlanta. That needs to be understood. It takes away some of it. But Atlanta would really like for Minnesota to win this. Really, really, really like for Minnesota to win this because it would be a big help. What do the Juice Box people think about it?
Minnesota United, $1.25, a plus 125. Chicago, a plus 200. And your draw, a plus 266.
I don't know if I can even think about juice boxes with this game because I'm so worked up about Minnesota winning.
We're so invested in it. It's like, no.
Yeah, I don't want to get blinded by it. Man, it's like I really just want Minnesota to get the job done here. So
yeah,
when you look at this, and I want to pull up a little more detail since this game is important in this front here. Hold on, I'm having a little bit of a difficulty over here. Okay. Minnesota coming into this. How do we feel good about Minnesota right now? So they didn't play on the weekend.
Right.
They're rested.
Yes.
That's good. They signed a few players ahead of this game who were with Reno in the USL Championship. That's a little weird.
Okay.
I think I can call them the Loons. For some reason, Loons was being blocked in Twitch pitch, which is funny. I guess Loons is a bad thing to say or type.
I guess like associated with the crazy people.
I guess, but that really shouldn't get you blocked in the Twitch pitch chat.
I know. It's just I'm trying to extrapolate.
I don't know. Okay, the Loons are missing Ja'Cory Hayes, Osvaldo Alonso, Hassani Dotson, Luis Almeria, Ike Opara, Tyler Miller. Miller's been out for a while. Ike Opara's been out all year.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever got man. Just thinking about this because I see undisclosed injury for Ike Opara. Have we ever heard what was wrong with Ike Opara?
No.
Like people were losing their minds about what was wrong with Ezequiel Barco, and you found out. I don't think we've heard at all what's going on with Ike Opara all year long.
No. That undisclosed injury, yeah. I've seen zero when it comes to anything involving an explanation.
I don't think I've seen anything. It's weird. Because you've got
I feel like
now...
Reverend Jim on Taxi.
You got...
With that.
What?
I don't know.
You're making Taxi references in 2020?
I don't know. Ike Opara.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Man, I didn't expect it to turn to that. Taxi aired when?
Back in the 1790s.
I think at least 1980.
It was in the 80s, yeah. I mean,
not
it was in
far
the,
into the
1980s.
80s. The 80, 81.
Yeah, Tony Danza.
Who's the Boss, Tony Danza, and that's the show John references. Man, my head is blown today.
Reverend Jim Ignatowski. I don't know. So that was where I was thinking with the injury with Ike Opara. Have we heard anything? Do we know what's up? I don't know.
Domer's gotcha. He says Taxi's timeless. I don't know if I've ever seen a whole episode of Taxi. I mean, it's one of those that... But it's been on. Like, it's been on syndicated for most of my life, but I don't think I've ever sat down and watched the whole episode. I know Andy Kaufman was on there. That's about all I got.
Yes, and Carol Kane was his eventual love interest, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that from the Man on the Moon movie. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see a Taxi reference coming.
Latka and Simka Dravas, yes.
Okay, so Soccer Forget OG said on Ike Opara, he wouldn't discuss it, said it's personal. Okay. I don't know. I have no idea. You've got 4 undisclosed injuries for Minnesota now. Opara's been out the longest. Amaria's been out for a while. Alonso and Hayes are now out with undisclosed. Dotson is listed with an ankle injury. Chicago comes on to this. Not really missing too many key figures. You do want to keep an eye on Mauricio Pineda and Alvaro Medran. One more yellow, and they miss Sunday. So you're rooting for yellows. You are looking at, for Chicago, a front 4 that can be a little scary with Beric, with Aliseda, Mihailovic, Frankowski, holding midfield, very, very good with Medran and Jimenez. Sekulic gets forward well. Bornstein gets forward well. Pineda is one of the very, very under-the-radar players this season. Pineda was a great pickup for them. Homegrown signing, went to UNC, did great in college, and he's been a rock at center back. I've been really impressed with him. So good on the ball. Shuttleworth, solid goalkeeper. Chicago comes in probably with... Well, I don't even know if it's fair to say that. I mean, even with the injuries Minnesota's looking at, their projected lineup at MLSsoccer.com. You got Kai Kamara up top. So you've got a proven goal scorer. You've got Robin Lod and Ethan Finley out wide. Good wingers, can score goals, can create. Reynoso from Boca is your number 10. He's done well in the league so far. You have a holding midfield now. You're missing Alonso. You're asking Kevin Molino, according to the projection here, to play deeper. And you're asking Jan Gregush to do more defensively. That's a question. If it works, and Molino can pick his spots to get forward, all right, that's going to be tough for Chicago to defend. You've got your outside backs, among the best in the league, Chase Gasper, Roman Mettener. And you've got Coleman and Boxall, who have done well at center back. You're not as good without Opara, but you've been good. St. Clair in goal, not what you would have liked because you expected to have Tyler Miller there, but you've been doing okay. So lineups feel comparable, even with the injuries for Minnesota. This is a big game for the Atlanta side of it. It really, really is.
And Dane St. Clair is the most expensive keeper in fantasy by a long margin.
What?
Yeah. Dane St. Clair is $11.1 million in fantasy. He is the most expensive goalkeeper on the list.
Okay.
How is that? A lot of saves, a lot of points, I guess.
I don't know. I didn't make it. That's really weird.
Yeah, I looked at that and I'm like, okay, there's no way I'm picking him in fantasy. So, and that's another thing we've got to do somewhere in this show is we've got to figure out our fantasy lineups.
We will get to that. Yes. Huh. That's really strange.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm posing that out there because I don't have an answer. I just looked at that and it's like, okay, who do I want for my keeper this week? And I see Dane St. Clair at 11.1. And I'm like, there's no way I'm picking Dane St. Clair at 11.1.
Well, so I'm digging a little bit deeper because, look, haven't been studying Minnesota as close as you would like. Dane St. Clair, according to the ratings at SofaScore, number 3 on the team. Opara is number 1, but he's barely played. Gregush is a little bit ahead of St. Clair. So we look a little deeper at his numbers. He has started 11 matches. He's giving up less than a goal a game. He is making 3.6 saves per game. That's pretty good. I mean, those are pretty solid numbers. He's got 5 clean sheets in his 11 starts. That's really good. So, yeah, I get it.
Okay.
They've been getting it done. Opara is not available, not back, Jason Nick. Sorry for the confusion. Still out with the undisclosed injury. But, yeah, St. Clair has been really good. I mean, he's getting a clean sheet every other game. You look back at their recent matches. Again, they didn't play over the weekend, so they'll be fresh. They beat Colorado 2-1 on October 28th. They beat Cincinnati 1-0 on the 24th. They drew with Houston at home. That's a bad result on the 18th. They scoreless draw in Nashville on the 6th. They beat Cincinnati 2-0 on the 3rd of October. So they have not lost since September 23rd. That is 6 straight matches. Hopefully that can be 7 for Atlanta United's purposes.
Yes.
Okay, the rest of the games today, Nashville and Dallas. So Nashville, it's funny, everybody came around to Nashville finally about, hey, they're actually pretty good and they're doing better than Miami, and now the questions have started again. Do they have enough firepower? Now, this is something that Gary Smith talked about this week. Daniel Rios has been playing really, really well, 4 goals in 5 games. Yonder Cadiz is getting close to being able to be a full go for Nashville. Gary Smith opened the door to them playing 2 up top. Now, they can make the 2 up top work in a few different ways. I kind of wonder if they'll play a 4-4-2, essentially, an empty bucket. Keep your holding midfield that is strong with McCarty and Godoy. You're going to be asking Rios or Cadiz to drop into the hole at times, especially to help defensively, or you're going to be asking your wide players, probably Mukhtar and Leal, to come inside a little bit at times to help you. That can all be done. Now, Gary Smith has also been partial to playing a 3-5-2 at times, but that's going to require more shifts in the way the team plays. You've got the personnel for that. If you play Rios and Cadiz, you play Mukhtar behind them, you play your holding midfield the same, McCarty and Godoy, you play your outside backs as wing backs, so Alistair Johnston, Daniel Lovitz as wing backs, no problems there. You bring in Jalil Anibaba to play with Walker Zimmerman and Dave Romney, and you're set to play a 3-5-2 that can be a line of 5 when you want it to be. So Gary Smith has options. You know, great expansion team, all the normal things, like it's really impressive they've done this, et cetera, et cetera. He's got some really interesting tactical variants here that he can bring into the mix at the moment. So if he wants to play Rios and Cadiz up top, I'm really fascinated to see how he does it and how it looks. Dallas is number 6 in the West. They could get into the top 4. They could. I think Nashville's the better team. I think Nashville gets the win at home.
Once again, Nashville at plus 125, FC Dallas in the composite at plus 227, and your draw is basically the same thing. Nashville.
I think Nashville wins it. I really do.
Yep.
Late games. Portland hosting Colorado. So Colorado got a massive win. Points per game is going to come into play in the West. Colorado's not going to have as many games played, so wins almost count a little bit more for them right now. Big win over Seattle, 3-1. They go to Portland. Portland is the number 1 team in the West. Portland could win the West. They are in that driver's seat right now. Colorado's in 7th in the West. Just like we said, wins help them a little bit more. Losses can hurt them a little bit more in points per game at the moment. So this is a big one. No Nish Goda for Portland. He is done for the year with an ACL tear. No Sebastian Blanco. He's done for the year a while back. They've got the experience, but it's getting thinner for them. What are the numbers on Portland, Colorado?
Portland plus 112, Colorado a plus 230, and your draws a plus 260.
You get a plus number on the best team in the West at home. I'm going to take it. Portland is. I feel like Portland gets the win here anyway, but that's even more appealing from a juice box perspective. And I'll take the good apple juice box and put it on Portland.
Okay.
I'm partial to Gio. Everybody knows that, but also it just feels like a matchup that they can win. And you get a positive number on it, yeah, you're going to jump on that.
Yeah, I'll take a cran grape and put it on Portland.
Galaxy hosting Seattle, 11 o'clock. Galaxy are still alive. Dominic Kinnear, can he get them over the line? We'll see. Seattle's trying to bounce back after a bad loss to Colorado, which doesn't feel like where Seattle typically is at this time of the year. Usually they are rounding into form, not dropping games to Colorado. Is the Brian Schmetzer conversation a distraction? He was on local radio in Seattle last night saying some of the same things. It was a little more measured, little more of, I hope we get a deal done, but we haven't got a deal done. But I hope we get a deal done, but we haven't got a deal done. There was still the jab, but it felt a little, maybe it's just because you're hearing it as opposed to seeing it in print. Didn't feel as harsh. Is that a distraction? I don't know. Can the Galaxy find another crazy result in a crazy year? I'm not so sure of it. What are the numbers?
Galaxy plus 2.25, 225. Seattle plus 106, and your draws a plus 280.
Draw. I think it's a draw. I think the Galaxy put up a fight.
Okay.
It's a draw, but it's that could be a wild ride tonight. That could be a wild ride. The zombie game with San Jose and LAFC that was scheduled less than 24 hours beforehand. I would hope the teams knew earlier than that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to tell the public. San Jose hosting LAFC. It's a late addition to the midweek slate. That's one way to put it. San Jose is currently in 8th. A win can clinch a postseason berth outright, according to MLSsoccer.com. That's pretty cool. A draw could do the trick if the Galaxy don't win against Seattle. Okay? And we don't think they will. But these games happen at the same time, so this could get really, really wild. Now, LAFC has always done well against San Jose. They've won 3 of their last 4. They're starting to get healthy. Does Carlos Vela start? He's come off the bench in his last 2. What are the numbers?
San Jose plus 227. LAFC is basically even money. They're at a plus 102. And your draw is a plus 300.
I think LAFC wins. It's mainly because of the history between the two teams. LAFC is the kind of team that can punish San Jose where some others don't. San Jose can take teams out of their comfort zone. LAFC doesn't get affected by that as much. It's kind of like Bayern and Red Bull Salzburg, like we saw yesterday. Red Bull Salzburg in that style can really bother some teams. Bayern's not bothered, and they're going to be able to handle it. Does it take LAFC that long to get the goals they need? Maybe so. But I think LAFC gets the win, and I think the Western Conference playoff spots come down to the final day.
Galaxy and Seattle, just to add to it, the over-under at 3.5 is a plus 128. Over-under at 4.5 is a plus 293.
I don't know if there's going to be 5 goals in it. Dominic Kinnear will have the Galaxy really set up to defend. That's been his MO. It's become more of his MO the longer he's been in the league. I would not be surprised if the Galaxy just sit deep and sit deep and sit deep and look to try to hit on a counter with Pavone at some point.
Then your 2.5 is a minus 194.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. No reason to do that. I don't like it enough to have to bet 294 juice boxes to get 100. But yes, I think that is the more likely one. I could see a 1-1 draw in it. It's kind of where my head's at.
Okay.
We have a conversation in the Twitch pitch, and John, you might want to chime in on this. Barbara Feldon versus Marlo Thomas. Who you got?
Ooh, Agent 99 versus that girl.
I knew that would get John excited about this. And I'm just sitting over here like...
I would probably go with Agent 99, Barbara Feldon. I'd probably go that way. But, of course, I would probably supersede both of those with Barbara Eden from My Dream of Jeannie.
Okay. Sure. Fair enough. Whatever.
60s and 70s TV down here.
Yeah, I told you it was distraction down here. It's living up to it so far. Man, this is madness. Mike Conti will be joining us in 10 minutes to talk about the MLS schedule as well. There will be quite a few things to get into there. Let's get into the fantasy teams real quick while we try to do that, if MLSsoccer.com will cooperate. I mean, they're adding games in the 24 hours before matches are played, so I guess I'm not surprised that my fantasy team doesn't want to come up. There we go. Right.
Well, okay, I was going to say, while you were getting your fantasy team, PSG's absences today.
Yes.
Mbappe, Icardi, Paredes, Verratti, Draxler, Neymar, Bernat, Letellier all out. Di Maria is doubtful.
Wow.
For Leipzig. No Halstenberg, no Hartmann, no Klosterman, no Konrad Leimer. So they're saying Nagelsmann might have some shuffling to do, but PSG's absences are 2, 4, 6, 8 dudes and a doubtful.
Whew, that's no bueno. Yeah, RB Leipzig. I think they get it done. Okay. MLS Fantasy. This is the final week. This is it. Let me see if I can pull up where I'm at. I think I had a good week last week. No, about where I'm always at, like 27th, so I'm 24th in the league.
Those 2 weeks got you, man.
I haven't been able to get over the hump after the first 2 weeks. I mean, I was horrendous in the first 2. And it's not that I didn't do it. It just I had bad luck. I had very bad luck. I had bad performances, and this is what happens. So, goalkeeper, who you got?
McCarthy,
because they play Cincinnati.
Exactly.
That's actually a really good call. I think I'm going to go with you on this one. Let me track him down. Because I had Joe Willis, but I'd like to clear a little bit of salary.
4.2 for McCarthy.
Yeah, I like that number. So let's get Mr. McCarthy in goal. Like it. All right, back line. You've got like 6 of them. Who you got?
Well, 4.
You're the Dominic
Romney,
Kinnear of
Gomez,
fantasy soccer.
Yeah. McKenzie, Romney, Gomez, Andrada, and Alro.
All right, I got Zimmerman, I got LGP, and I got Lennon on my 3-man back line right now.
Okay.
I think I'm going to roll with that. I mean, LGP, it's the same thing as the McCarthy situation. You're playing Cincinnati. Lennon against Columbus. Atlanta's going to need goals. Lennon's been one of the best creators that Atlanta's had. I kind of like that setup. He's a good number for a defender who gets forward. Zimmerman's always a goal-scoring threat defensively, and I think Nashville will be good defensively. Zimmerman's a goal-scoring threat and set pieces, sorry. So I'm gonna stick with those 3. All right, midfield, who you got?
Valeri, Leal, Pozuelo, Caden Clark, and a captained Ladero.
All right, I got Valeri and Ladero. I've got Christian Espinoza, and now he's got 2 games. And, of course, the MLS Fantasy website is not updated with the schedule because the game was announced just about 10 hours ago. So, Memo Rodriguez I also have. Houston plays Colorado on decision day. I might have to have a think on that one. Up top, who you got?
Jordan Morris.
I got Alan Polito. They play RSL, who's eliminated, so I like that one. I've got Daryl Dike. They play Columbus tonight in a big game. They play Nashville on the final day. There might not be a lot of goals there, but I think there could be tonight. I'm going to stick with Dike because he's a good number 2. I've got an open spot at forward, and now I have 12.2 to spend.
Oh, wow.
I had Jossie Zardes, but I'm going to go in a different direction there.
Yeah.
There was a question. Somebody said, and Christopher Abel, we'll get back into CONCACAF here in a minute, too. We talked about it yesterday. Ricky said they need to fix Rui Diaz's status. They have him as out, but he is not out. So I might take advantage of that. Because he would fit in my bar here. They play the Galaxy tonight. I do think Dominic Kinnear will try to defend. They play San Jose on the final day. I don't know if San Jose knows how to sit back and defend. So, I kind of like that. The other possibility for me would be Pavone. They're the same price. Galaxy are desperate. They play Seattle today. They play Vancouver on the last day. My concern would be things go against them today and they're eliminated, and then the Vancouver game doesn't mean anything. So I could get hosed in that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Rui Diaz. So I'm gonna trust Ricky Ricardo on this one as well. So Ricky's got Joe Willis in goal. Ricky's got Zavaleta, Romney, and LGP on the back line. He's got Reynoso, Valeri, Pozuelo, and Ladero. So you guys both went with that trio of Valeri, Pozuelo, Ladero, which is a very expensive trio.
Right.
Valeri a little bit less, but Lodero and Pozuelo are a lot.
1-2.
Rui Diaz and Morris and Dike up top is what Ricky's got. And Ricky said if you lose and he wins, he could steal the win in the Pro Rel League.
Yeah, that would. Let's see. So checking the leagues here. Oh, so I get Ricky in the last week of the season.
No, I don't think you're playing Ricky. He said if John loses and Ricky wins.
Yeah, because right now, league standings, I am at 11-0-2, a game ahead of Port City FC, and we all need some ... because the character name took more than the actual available look. So we all need something. We all need 3 ellipses. So
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting to be at the chased instead of the chaser.
There you go. All right, I am going to I'm going to trust Ricky on this one. I'm going to put Reynoso into my team. I dropped Memo Rodriguez. Reynoso comes in, so my midfield is Ladero, Reynoso, Valeri, and Espinoza. Okay. So I'm going to go with that. KFC said, my goal after my own horrendous start to fantasy was to crack the top 30, so I didn't have to load more. Same here. Got into the top 30, so I'm happy. I would have liked to get a little bit further, but it's okay. It's okay. we all need somebody to lean on.
Thank you.
Yes, there you go. Thank you,
Thank
Ricky.
you.
Okay, so fantasy setup. This is it for fantasy. Our plan for a worldwide fantasy thing is going to be pushed back a month. So we'll have a fantasy contest starting in December for the MLS offseason and with all the other madness. It's been a little busy lately. So we'll get that set up for December. Basically what we'll have you guys do, and you guys tell me, and for those of you who are listening on the Twitch pitch, you can chime in right now. For those of you who listen later, you can send us a message or tweet at it. There's been a call for us to set up a Discord. I'm not super knowledgeable on the Discords. I think it could be a good thing. It might be a way to make this fantasy idea that I have set up and do it right. We will do a playoff challenge. Good call, Ricky. Thank you. We'll do that on the MLS side as well. So that'll happen. But to do this separate idea and just general communication stuff, I think we're going to set up a Discord. Give me a little bit of time to get it done. The Twitch pitch has become kind of a really cool chat room, essentially, during the show, and y'all start getting into 60s and 70s leading ladies conversations from time to time, and who knows what else happens in the Twitch pitch. So it would be good to have something like that that could continue outside of the show when the show's not on. Yeah. So I think we're going to set up a Discord. Just give us a little bit of time to get it done. That might be how we do this fantasy league. But let us know if you're interested in things you'd like to see in that. As we're setting it up, so we can kind of plan that out and have an idea of what to do this. So many communication channels. It is absolutely true, Steve. But one of the cool things about, I think, this crazy 2020 when it comes to SDH has been the community that's kind of, sprung up around it. And Twitch has been a big part of that. So if we can do something to kind of foster that and continue to grow it, that's the idea. So I think a Discord might be the way to make that happen. So stay tuned on that front. But let us know what you'd be looking for in that, what you would be hoping to see in an SDH Discord. All right, John. Thanks, somebody.
Apolinsky & Associates, LLC, proud supporters of everything soccer down here in the SDH network. If a wrongful death and serious injury matter is a conversation that you need to have, a couple different ways that you can do it. You can shoot Steve Apolinsky an email directly, steve@aa-legal.com. You can also get a free consultation by giving him a ring at 404-377-9191. Or, if you prefer to do things on the World Wide Web, there is a way that you can do that. The website on the World Wide Web is aa-legal.com. Large device or small, hit the enter key, the return key, the arrow key, and it advances the screen to the home page. A pop-up window pops up because that's what pop-up windows do. Otherwise, they'd be called something different. You can have a conversation 24/7, 365 with someone. Could even be Steve Apolinsky himself. We don't know. We need this answer. Inquiring minds want to know. Who's at the other end of the pop-up window, Steve? Let us know. aa-legal.com. Recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend Magazine for being one of the top 100 firms in this here state of Georgia. 30 years of experience, more than that. $40 million in judgments, more than that, for clients in Georgia and Alabama for wrongful death and serious injury matters. The website for Apolinsky & Associates, LLC, is aa-legal.com.
You were almost 15 seconds earlier that time.
Well, it's because I was trying to, because I knew we were getting right up against it and bringing in Mike Conti, so we could talk about things, trying to get to the top of the hour, just right there.
Oh, no, he just didn't.
Yes, he did. He was trying to get to the top of the hour, knowing that the guest was going to be anticipated right then and there. You don't want to keep a guest waiting. You just don't.
I'm with Domer, a bit too fast.
All right. I will slow it down. Once again, yesterday we ended up doing it at 10:37, an hour and 37 minutes into the show. And I was like, oh, crap. Yeah, we have to do this.
It happens from time to time. Things get out of hand.
That is accurate.
Mm-hmm. And we are getting Mateo. I think Mateo might get hired on a full-time basis.
Sweet.
Mateo is bringing Mike Conti into the mix. Hopefully. Mateo.
Oh, yo. Mateo.
Did I jinx Mateo?
Dog.
I might have. There could have been a jinxing. That's not cool. Mateo. I like Mateo.
Mateo, dude, you had your litmus test and you set it on fire.
I don't know. Mateo might have a good excuse. We will see. Okay, so Mike will hopefully join us here shortly. He is not as of yet. Mateo's still working on it. People are now calling for Steve to come back.
Yeah.
Man, every time.
Now we're getting We're now getting our favorite virtual producers going at each other in the Twitch pitch. Now we're getting folks who want their favorite producers to get hired full time.
Yes, people are holding up banners outside of the virtual production studio.
Steve. Mateo.
It's madness. Mateo
that's awesome.
Disappointing me today.
Dog.
Why you keep calling him dog?
Man.
That might be why he left.
Come on, dog.
You should not call anybody dog. Please don't
dog.
do that. No, just stop doing that. It's very upsetting.
20 years old. Come on, dog.
Very, very upsetting. Interesting. Well, okay, a couple things. So Barcelona's being Barcelona as usual.
Yeah, let's get into this.
So Barcelona, according to RAC1 Radio, the players do want to reach agreements over a salary reduction. They'd like to help the team out and figure that out. But they want to do that with a new president. New president's not going to be elected until January, it seems like. Remember, supposedly, and Mike Conti joins us, Mateo got it done. What's up, Mike?
Guys, I'm sorry. I have no idea what's going on with Skype. And I mean, Jason and I, we do so much stuff over Skype right now, and I feel like more than half the time my phone doesn't ring or my computer doesn't go off or whatever. So sorry about that.
No, it's all good. You got Mateo, our virtual producer, off the hook. He seems to be everybody's favorite, and he just got a permanent gig here. So.
Oh, good. Well, hey, congratulations, Mateo.
Yes.
If you want to break me off some of your salary, I would certainly appreciate that.
Seriously, same here. We were talking about Barcelona. So I don't know if you've been following this madness situation with Barcelona off the field.
I mean, I know they're having some financial problems.
Yes, that's the understatement of the show.
Yeah, specifically beyond that, I've been kind of locked in on something else going on over the last 12 hours.
Yeah, there's that. So, we're distraction down here, Mike. We're doing a pretty good job so far.
Good. Well, then please fill me in.
Okay, so Barcelona, to catch Mike up and to catch everybody up on this telenovela, the whole off-the-field thing, they don't have a president right now because he was called for a vote of no confidence, and instead of actually facing the vote from the membership, he resigned. He did sign the paperwork that would put Barcelona into this proposed European Super League, Premier League thing on his way out the door, which is questionable business. But anyway, so he's out. They have a temporary president in. His name is Tusquets. They need to, according to reports over the weekend, clear 190 million euro to balance their books. They need to do that by tomorrow, at least have the agreements in place to have that done, or they could be looking at a bankruptcy situation in January. I mean, it's
Barcelona.
That bad. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Barcelona going bankrupt.
Yes.
I mean, this isn't Brentford.
No.
Or,
No, this isn't Nelson FC here.
No, this isn't Millwall. I mean, this is Barcelona. Good Lord.
It's Barcelona.
Now, I'm assuming there is some protections that would be in place because we've seen this in Argentina where, a River of Boca has serious financial problems. The government's not going to let them go bust. It wouldn't. It's not good for anybody. But they're going to have problems just paying their bills. So they are trying to get players to take another pay cut. Now, players took a big one when Spain was in a state of emergency. That, went back to their normal salaries once the state of emergency was lifted. Now they could be going back into a state of emergency, so that could open up another door. But the players now, according to RAC1 Radio in Barcelona, they want to sit down at the table and do a salary reduction to help the club. But they want to do this with the new president. There isn't a new president right now. The vote to have a new president probably can't happen in Barcelona until January. Kind of difficult to have votes right now in Spain. So the players want to do it, but they don't want to do it with this temporary guy. They're questioning his legitimacy. They're questioning the lawyers that were hired by the previous president who screwed everything up in the first place. They're also waiting for concrete proposals. So they're looking at like 24 hours. And, they play in Champions League today, too, by the way.
That's crazy.
And they're trying to sort out a salary reduction of €190 million.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think one major positive is that your players are willing to negotiate on this.
Yep.
And I guess, this wouldn't be comparable to MLS, even though MLS has a players' union. But I think the players were negotiating in good faith. I think you've seen some professional sports leagues in North America where it's been a little bit harder. Baseball comes to mind, where it's been a little bit harder to get the players to be willing to come back to the bargaining table and do it again. As you said, they've already taken one salary reduction. I think, if I remember correctly, this past spring, they did that because it looked like the entire club staff was going to be sacked if they didn't. And some of their players really kind of stepped up to the plate to protect club staffers. So, one major obstacle to getting Barcelona out of this jam is in place. Your players are willing to talk. And I don't think it's an unreasonable request to want to talk to the new president either.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know if they have the time to wait. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do between now and the time you can have that vote? And is that where the Spanish government steps in with something short term?
Is
that where, somehow you might be able to find a sponsor or, a
debt
TV partner?
Even.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. I don't know how that looks even.
Yeah.
I don't know what the banks in Spain are like right now and how able they would be to handle something like that. I don't know if there's some corner of the world where there's unsold TV rights. I mean, you're basically just trying to stay liquid now until you can get those players and the new president together and you can hammer out some kind of permanent agreement. So what can you do to stay liquid for the next 2 months? I mean, can Pepsi be a sleeve sponsor for Barcelona? And that's the other thing too. Like, the league's going to have to probably help out.
Yeah.
And permit them to create some revenue generating opportunities until they can get through this. Because as bad as it would be for the nation, for Barca to go bankrupt, it would be catastrophic for La Liga.
Yeah.
Catastrophic. So the league's going to have to step up and help out as well.
You could potentially, and just to complicate things, because it's not complicated enough. You do have the issues with Barcelona and the Catalonian government versus the Spanish government in Madrid, and that could complicate it. You've got a game today too, and you've also got La Liga investigating the comments that Ronald Koeman made after the match against Madrid, where they questioned the referee, they questioned VAR, and said all kinds of wild things publicly about how Barcelona doesn't ever get any calls. And
oh, come on!
So now you've got the league going after them too. It's just great times in Barcelona. It's a lot of fun right now.
Barcelona doesn't get any calls.
No, they don't get any calls.
What, is Phil Fulmer speaking publicly for them now? Like, what is going on?
Ronald Koeman and Phil Fulmer, huh? That's not a bad comparison, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like Tennessee, when Peyton Manning was there, got every single stinking call.
We're just not getting any calls.
Game. And Fulmer would still come out. Well, we just don't get.
I don't know. We're just not getting the calls at the right time when it comes to these key moments in the game.
That's why you're in the Citrus Bowl every year with Peyton Manning, because you're not getting the calls. Okay. Lordy, you got me to go down a rabbit hole there. That's a mess. But I think, again, it's demonstrative, guys, of the larger point that I think we've been talking about on this show since March, that no club and no league is going to be able to get through this without taking a big hit. And what's scary now is that you're going back into lockdowns in Europe. One is to assume you might be going back into that here in the United States. And if you were hoping that the start of the 2021 season, you would be able to get lots of fans and lots of venues, it just doesn't look that way right now. What concerns me is when you start hearing the rhetoric out of the National Hockey League that reportedly there are some owners that just would rather not play the season.
Yeah.
If you can't have fans, things are a little different for Major League Soccer because you have single entity.
Yeah.
But I don't like hearing things like that from another major professional sports league in this country that is much more reliant on gate revenue and match day or game day revenue in the case of the National Hockey League than television revenue. And the NHL's TV revenue currently dwarfs the TV revenue of Major League Soccer. They also have more expenses. And believe me, I'm not trying to suggest or infer anything for Major League Soccer in 2021 based on what's happening in the National Hockey League, but I don't find that to be reassuring. If owners in the NHL are thinking about that, I really do wonder if maybe there are some Major League Soccer owners who are thinking about that right now. And I think, understanding the economics of it, if that's a conversation that's happening, that's very, very concerning because 25 years of hard work and good work to put the league on the footing that it's in right now, I think would go down the drain very, very quickly, especially if the NFL and NBA and college sports and everything continues on as normal.
That's why I don't think it happens. I think you mentioned it, and I think it's an important thing. When you're looking at the expenditures, and the ones that are kind of are what they are, salaries is the biggest one here.
Yeah.
It's a different universe between the two. And how many, and this, you guys might know this, you might not. We've seen the Forbes numbers on MLS, and you don't have a lot of teams that are losing big money in MLS. You have teams that are losing a little bit here and there. The ones that are losing big money, one of them is NYC playing at Yankee Stadium, which if you're not renting it, then different. Toronto's decided to pay big salaries because they could. That's really it. That's I think the only ones that were in double digits in losses. NHL teams, how many are losing money and what kind of losses are you talking about?
I mean, there are some teams, there's probably a small handful of teams that are losing incredible amounts.
That's what I thought.
Arizona.
Yes, Arizona. Edmonton has been brought up a couple times. I don't know if their situation improved with their new building or not. Calgary has come up as being in big trouble. Part of that's arena related. And I'm talking about like major losses.
Yeah.
You can absorb a small hit here or there. You're probably, again, Jason, you're spot on. You're looking at a much larger percentage of the National Hockey League that's operating at a loss right now than Major League Soccer.
And it's big loss too. Like in some cases, anyway. In some cases, it's a big loss. It's not a little loss.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now, then again, I mean, I don't know how big the losses are for Major League Soccer clubs. Obviously, the expenses are much lower in terms of player salary.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm thinking might make it useful. I mean, not useful, but easier to play. It's almost like if you're in a little bit lower kind of expenditure level. Okay, you can be a little more nimble. You can manage it a little bit better. If you're in the NHL situation, like even playing the games, you're looking at losing money. And, if you're playing the games without fans in the stands, you're going to be losing most of your money. So why play?
Yeah.
If you can get out of it. I think
what's going to end up happening in the National Hockey League is they're going to leave it up to the clubs. If there's a club that says we can't play this year, then they'll suspend operations for a year. They'll put all their players into a dispersal draft, and those players will get snapped up by other teams. And then, when those clubs want to resume play, whether it be, in 2022 or 2023, they don't have to pay an expansion fee to get back in. That's kind of the model that's going on right now in the East Coast Hockey League. The Atlanta Gladiators have decided they are not going to play this season.
Norfolk did too, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so players on those teams, they go into a dispersal draft. If the Gladiators want to resume playing next year, they don't have to pay an expansion fee. I would assume they would have to have some kind of allocation draft or, I don't know, expansion draft.
Do they become an expansion
like
team again?
Say that again?
Do they become an expansion team, kind of?
Yes, essentially, yeah.
Huh.
I mean, the roster's dissolved.
Yeah.
Sure. but the difference is they don't have to pay an expansion fee.
Right.
So I went through this, believe it or not, in arena football in New Orleans.
The Voodoo.
Yeah, the Voodoo. I was their play-by-play announcer for a couple years. They were playing. Katrina hit. Tom Benson, who also owns the New Orleans Saints, decided that there was no way they could play in the spring of 2006 right after Katrina. So the team suspended operations. They dispersed the players. When they came back in 2007, they had an expansion draft for the Voodoo. They selected a whole new team, and they started playing. They resumed operations. They had to hire a whole new coaching staff and everything like that. But because it was a suspension of operations, they never had to pay another expansion fee. They didn't get any revenue for the 2006 season. They got no revenue sharing from the league. But when they came back in, they came back as a fully vested club. Again, I could see that potentially happening in the National Hockey League.
Wow.
And why are we talking about this on Soccer Down here? I'm just, I don't think this is going to come up in MLS, but I do get really, really concerned when I start hearing these rumblings and seeing that rhetoric out of, quite frankly, let's call it what it is. The National Hockey League is on a stronger footing because they've been around for 101 years. Mm-hmm. They're on a stronger footing right now, perceptually, than Major League Soccer. They, again, higher expenses, but much more TV revenue. And I fear, even in the NBA, you have Adam Silver sounding the alarm bells right now about going from a 72-game to a 60-game schedule, what that could do to league revenues.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think people realize how much, I can tell you with knowledge of one particular NBA team that their net revenue per home game is around $1 million.
Yeah, so you're looking
net
at
revenue.
$6 million net if you take out those 12 games.
And that's one of 30 clubs. Okay, so now multiply that by 30 and you start to see where you're going here.
Yeah.
So,
and TV money and all of the other things.
Yeah, prorated contracts for TV. Yeah.
I have to be honest, I'm really concerned now because I think when this all started, we hoped that by the start of 2021, we'd be out of this and everyone would take a hit and we'd be back to normal. We're not going to be out of this at the start of 2021. So some hard decisions are going to have to be made. And it's not just in soccer, it's in every sport. And it's concerning because, like I said, you have leagues right now that have worked very, very hard and players who have put in a lot of effort to put professional sports leagues where they are right now. And I think it's more under threat now than it was in March.
Yeah, I agree.
Because in March, we thought this would be short term. And it's become quite clear now that it's not going to be short term. It's going to be long term around the world. And it's going to take a level of belt tightening. And unfortunately, I think there are just going to be some leagues and some clubs that are just not going to make it, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong, but it just feels that way to me.
Looking at the National Hockey League, Mike, just to give you an example, Arizona in Forbes with their valuation operated at a $15 million loss in 2019. The Florida Panthers, who are playing in front of friends and family out in Sunrise, $21 million loss.
Yeah.
Columbus, because they went right up against the salary cap and thought that they could make a deep run, $13 million loss.
Which is crazy because they draw well.
Winnipeg at minus 7.7 million. I don't know if that's Canadian or American, but once again, you're talking about the money of Thomson Reuters. They can do that.
Right.
Nashville at minus 11, Anaheim at minus 3, the Islanders at minus 3.5, and everyone else is on the plus side.
It's not as bad as I thought.
I strongly doubt you have any MLS clubs even running at a $3 million loss.
Here's the thing that's hard about it, because according to Forbes, there are some. There's a few. There's, I think, NYC and Toronto who are in double-digit losses. But the thing that Forbes doesn't have that makes MLS a whole different scenario with this is the Soccer United marketing revenues.
Right.
Because when you're part of the league, That might be your team loss. NYC, for example. NYC is going to have a heavy loss until they move into their own building. They have to rent Yankee Stadium. They have to convert it. That's an expenditure that cripples them in that way. But they understand. They know what it is. But they have this other money coming in from Soccer United marketing that comes in and is separate. It's not part of your team budget. So does that offset it enough? That's the part we don't know. I don't think there's many losing big money when you have that offset. There are a few who are losing money, but a lot of it, when you look at those Forbes numbers, were in the like 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there.
Right.
Most were running, pretty even.
Right.
Before the Soccer United marketing money.
Yeah. So I just want to be very, very clear one more time and I'm sorry to kind of derail your conversation.
No, it's a Wall Pass Wednesday. That's what it's for.
I'm not in any way suggesting that Major League Soccer is having the same kinds of discussions as the National Hockey League right now. I just when I hear about a league that's been around for 101 years and makes over $100 million a year, in fact, way over $100 million a year in national TV revenue in the U.S. and Canada, it does kind of make you wonder what if about another league that is incredibly reliant on game day revenue, now looking at the possibility, if not likelihood, that you're not going to be able to have anything other than closed-door matches for a long stretch of 2021. Another option, of course, is that you could wait until the summer to start. You could do what you did this year. You could have maybe a tournament, a warm weather destination in late April.
I would absolutely do a tournament, a preseason tournament.
To start everything off, and then you go into local markets and, maybe you play 25 to 30 matches in local markets, and not going to be pleasant. You're going to have a lot of match compression. But if that's what gives you the best shot to have as many fans as possible, you've got to try to do it.
Yeah, I think what should be on the table, and I don't know, because we've seen reports that the season could start in April. We've seen some reports that it could start as late as May. USL Championship has been kind of the same timeline, although maybe it's even a little bit easier for them to get started because you're dealing with smaller crowds. Maybe they can get closer to their usual numbers quicker.
Right.
I don't know. But MLS, let's say it's either one, April or May. I would try to keep the calendar close to where it normally is. We don't know how like Concacaf Champions League next year is going to look. We don't know any of that yet. You can't worry about that at the moment. I would try to have teams come in for training camp starting in February. So a little bit backed up, but you've run the season longer, so that's fine. February, you train. March, you go to a preseason tournament like MLS is back. And it is a tournament that you put money on the line, you sponsor it, you sell it, you do everything to make that a revenue generator for the league as best you can, because you're going to have expenses with it. But you're going to be paying these players salaries. So if you can do that and do it safely and do it somewhere to kick the season off, that's an interesting component. Then you go into your league play, hopefully by the middle of April. Maybe that's a way to kind of stay on the same type of calendar, but create a format that makes sense.
Yeah, the format makes a ton of sense. I think the March tournament and February training camp might be a tad optimistic. I hope I'm wrong. That feels a little bit aggressive. I'm thinking maybe March training camp, April tournament, May.
It could be.
You're in local markets. And hey, look, I mean,
I'd shoot for aggressive, and if you have to back up, you can back up.
I mean, if you think about it, though, if you're in local markets by, say, May 1st, that's about 30 weeks between May 1st and the end of the year, approximately about 30 weeks, maybe a little bit more. So you could get, I don't know, I mean, pretty easily probably 26 to 30 matches in local markets, with a playoff that would end before Christmas. And then you're still pretty much right where you need to be going into the World Cup year. Look, we don't know what's being discussed. We are fully spitballing this year. It is relevant for Atlanta United because if they don't get out of this weekend with a playoff berth, we'll see them in the zombie CONCACAF Champions League right before Christmas, but then we might not see them again for a while. you could be talking about 6 months between league matches. If Sunday is it,
they've got to avoid that.
And you don't resume the tournament until April, 6 months. That's a long time. That's as long as they've ever gone without playing. So it's relevant. It's relevant to what happens this weekend. I think it's relevant to a lot of things that are going to have to be decided.
It's relevant to the coaching search. It's relevant to Ezekiel Barco and the transfer window. It's relevant to a lot of things.
And for all these people who are, questioning why Atlanta United hasn't made a hire yet for a manager, head coach, whatever they want to call it, and for those out there suggesting that the club may have something to hide, guys, here it is. Do you want to hire a new manager who might not have anything to manage for 6 months? That doesn't seem like it's necessary to me. And if everything gets pushed back with the start to play, everything is going to get pushed back with contracts and free agency and super draft and all. It's all going to get pushed back. Look at the NBA.
And this is this is where it gets hard. And this is the challenge that MLS has. And we'll get into the games tonight after this. But this is an important discussion to kind of set the table for everything. The NBA, the NHL, the NFL, they operate kind of in their own world. MLS doesn't. The transfer window is a worldwide thing. So it gets really hard, and that's why they don't want to get too far away from calendars, because January is where you're going to be looking to do some business, and you're going to need to sell. I think some teams are probably going to say, you know what, we really do need to sell here. Diego Rossi, Brian Rodriguez at LA, Ezekiel Barco here. There's going to be teams that are going to be looking to move and bring in some money, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, you're right. Just to clarify, though, from my standpoint, that's still 2 months away. We wouldn't be talking about free agency the day after the Cup final.
But it's all affected. That's what I'm saying. It's all interconnected, because when you look at how you prepare your team, that transfer window is a massive part of it, a bigger part of it than MLS free agency. So it all plays off of one another. So it's like, if you look at it and you go into, MLS Cup is in mid-December. You have to set your off-season calendar. You can't avoid the January window. That's not going anywhere worldwide. So how do you make it all fit? And then when you sell players, you're going to be looking to bring in other players. Are they going to come if you don't start your season until May? I think that's where you got to figure something out in the meantime. And it's like what Argentina's doing with their League Cup. Maybe you find a way to even make a bigger MLS's back kind of tournament in warm weather sites, where it's almost like a spring training baseball situation, but it's a competitive one, and you put a Concacaf spot on the line, you put a big check on the line, and you go for it that way. I don't know, but I think it's that worldwide nature of it makes this so much more complicated for MLS than even it is for an NHL, an NBA, an MLB, and an NFL.
Yeah. And one other quick suggestion I would make about whatever season opening tournament you're going to do is, let's see where Liga MX is with their calendar and where they are with COVID.
You might do a combined one.
Boy, would I love to combine that.
That would be
cool.
Boy,
would I love that.
That's a really good point, and they might need you both might need the additional revenue that could be generated by doing it.
And if you get Liga MX in this, it's a whole new ball game from a TV standpoint. I mean, I don't know what the contracts are like for MLS, but I mean, this is something that you might be able to sell separately, again, using a hockey analogy, as the NHL and NHLPA did with the World Cup 2 years ago. That they had up in Toronto. They sold a completely separate TV package to ESPN.
That's what you're doing.
Who's not a TV partner in the National Hockey League. So if you can get it aligned with Liga MX, I say swing for the fences. And honestly, the zombie CONCACAF Champions League might be a good beta test for all of this.
Could be.
They're going to bubble somewhere, I've been told, either in Texas or Florida. Wherever you do this, for the zombie CONCACAF Champions League, might be a good little test run, a Confederations Cup type test run for something you could potentially do with both leagues in the spring. I think it'd be great to create enthusiasm. I think it'd be something the players would be all about. You're right, Jason. You put cash prizes on it. You sell the TV deal separately. The sponsorship and marketing opportunities would be incredible. And again, because it's a new event, it's all new revenue. So if Don Garber's listening,
we can sit down and workshop this with you, Don. We've got ideas.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Would love to.
Okay, couple questions before we get into the game tonight. So this is coming up from the Twitch pitch. Your thoughts on the zombie CONCACAF Champions League?
I know a lot of people are really, really down on it. I take the completely different perspective on this. It is going to be awkward from the standpoint of, even if you were to make the playoffs and make a deep run, your season is still going to be over by the time this comes out. It is going to be awkward if you've decided to move on from some players. It's going to put you in an awkward spot roster-wise. It sounds like Eric Lopez is eligible to play and likely will play in this.
He absolutely would be.
And honestly, I think you could be looking at this as an opportunity with really nothing to lose. You're down 3-0. All right, give Tyler Wolff a shot. Give George Campbell a shot. Give some of the younger guys who have been in the first team this year an opportunity to play a Club America team that's probably not going to be fully motivated either. But I look at it this way. When Georgia goes to the Independence Bowl or the Liberty Bowl,
why'd you have to put Georgia in that bowl?
If Georgia Tech goes to the Humanitarian Bowl or the Seattle Bowl, their fans aren't necessarily happy that they aren't in the Orange Bowl. But you know what happens? You get 10 bowl practices that can be a really good head start to the upcoming spring practice. And that's what I look at here for Atlanta United.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their season's going to be over. Yeah, they're probably not going to make up that goal difference on America. But you know what? It's going to give you an opportunity to work together at a time where the players would otherwise be dispersed. And I look at that as a positive. I think that's a really good thing.
Okay, games tonight. The two that matter in our neck of the woods, one matters a whole lot less. We'll spend a little bit of time with it. Columbus and Orlando. What are you thinking happens in this one? I think Orlando wins at home.
Yeah, I do too. I am really confused and puzzled by Columbus. I was ready to kind of stick a fork in them with the way they lost to D.C. They hadn't been playing very well going into that Philadelphia match. Then they turned around and looked great against Philly. Philly may have also been a little bit emotionally expended going into that match too. I think that's something we've overlooked. But I agree with you. I think Orlando gets that done. And if they do, then Columbus really would not have much to play for on Sunday. I don't know if that would affect the way an Atlanta United supporter would root in tonight's match, but that is one way I look at it. I'm with you. I think Orlando, they're playing really well right now. 4-1 over Atlanta a week ago, 1-0 up at Red Bull over a desperate Montreal club. DK is on a little bit of a roll again as he was in August. I really like Orlando tonight.
And
then you've got Minnesota and Chicago, and that one's got absences, but a lot of context and subtext too.
Yeah, Minnesota, I guess, has 4 guys out. I haven't seen Chicago's injury report yet. It's obviously at Minnesota. Conditions will probably be a factor. I'm sure it's not going to be balmy up there. Look, if you're an Atlanta United fan, you got to hope Minnesota wins that. Even a draw doesn't really give you the ability to control your own destiny on Sunday. You're going to need Minnesota to win that. I think they can. I think the question is, how much has Minnesota been able to train? They had 2 positives, but it was like a week ago, wasn't it? Almost a week ago.
Yeah.
So how much have they been able to train?
I got an update there. They have not had full training, according to Andy Greeter, the Pioneer Press. They have had the small group training. They have had the individual workouts. But according to Greeter yesterday, they had not had full training since all this started.
Not sure how big a deal that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't help, but I don't know if it kills you. Chicago, their recent form's been suspect, so let's see. If this match were played when it was originally scheduled, I'd say Minnesota's looking pretty good in that. Now with everything that's happened over the last week, I'm not sure. But we don't ask much of the Loons. This would be one time where the Loons could really help us out. Because I'm telling you guys, if Minnesota wins tonight, and Atlanta goes into Sunday controlling their own destiny, I really think they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I really, really think they're going to do it. There comes a point where you need so much help, and it seems so unlikely that you're going to get that help, and then you get it, and you almost wonder, are you destined to make it as a result? I really think if Minnesota does this tonight, I think doing those wind sprints and other conditioning drills up in Marietta on Thursday becomes a lot easier for Atlanta United with that knowledge. They're going to be very, very fired up for that match.
I would ask what's on the grill, but I'm just going to say what's on the television for you tonight because of all of this stuff. I mean, Jason had it all mapped out from starting at like 12:55.
Yeah, I got games all day.
It looks to me like the election's over, so I don't think any more cable news for me. I'm watching this. Sports-wise, I don't know if there's really anything else to watch tonight. But no, I'll be watching the Loons. I'll be listening to Callum and Kendra, and hopefully the Loons get it done tonight. This is a really big one. It's been very, very unusual. In fact, I can't really think of a situation where Atlanta United has needed something this badly from another match. There have been instances where, for playoff seeding or maybe opening things up for the Shield a little bit, it's come up. But, I mean, basically with your life on the line, I don't remember another match having this much impact. So I'll be watching this with as much interest as I would if Atlanta United were playing tonight.
So just so everybody understands, if Chicago loses here, Atlanta controls their own destiny on Sunday.
Correct.
If Chicago draws, Atlanta needs help on Sunday.
Correct.
If Chicago wins, Atlanta's still in the same boat. They got to win. They need more help on Sunday, or does it dramatically change?
Same amount of a draw, a Chicago draw or Chicago win requires the same formula on Sunday, which would be a win and a Chicago loss draw or a Montreal loss. I think maybe a draw too. I don't have this down in front of me.
No, that's fine.
Something really, really important to keep in mind here is that Atlanta United is in outstanding tiebreaker shape with Chicago. Okay, so basically what you're hoping for is for Atlanta and Chicago to end on the same number of points on Sunday. If that happens, Atlanta would have one more win. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Okay, if Chicago draws tonight, take Montreal out of it. And Montreal, by the way, could lose to DC. Mm-hmm. But take Montreal out of this. If Chicago draws tonight, loses Sunday, Atlanta needs a draw on Sunday. If Chicago wins tonight, loses Sunday, Atlanta needs a win on Sunday. If Chicago loses tonight, but then wins Sunday, Atlanta needs a win on Sunday. So Atlanta and Chicago have to end on the same number of points. That's why a draw or a win tonight really doesn't make that much of a difference.
No, that makes total sense. And keep an eye, Atlanta fans, on Alvaro Medran, on Mauricio Pineda. They are both on the yellow card tightrope. If they pick up a yellow tonight, they miss on Sunday, and those are two very important players.
I'm going to be fascinated to see how Caleb Porter sets his team up tonight. Does he go all in tonight, plan to rotate Sunday, or does he do the opposite? I'm going to be really, really curious to see how he plays that.
Yeah, God, there's so much stuff going on with both of these games. It's going to be fun. We'll be tweeting about it. I'm sure Mike will be tweeting about it a lot at MikeConti99. I will at Longshoe, John at OSG Nelson. It's going to be a fun night of scoreboard watching.
Yeah, I'm trying to go on a tweet diet, so I'm not sure how much I'll be tweeting. But,
see, what you need to not read the Twitter. You can tweet and put it out there for people.
No, I can't do that.
Oh,
you know me. I don't have
the
self-discipline to do that. How long have you known me, Jason?
I know. I'm trying to figure out a way for you to be able to do that. You need to go back to the old school way where you could text to tweet. So then you're not on Twitter.
Yeah, but then I tried talk to text, and it screws it up.
We know that on your point. John, I have more faith in Mike.
Today?
What's that?
Speaking of self-discipline, is Abby on the Twitch?
Yes, Abby today? Asked if we needed more candy.
Yeah, Abby, I completely lost self-discipline on that industrial-sized bag of Reese's Pieces watching the election. I am struggling this morning after having about 8 handfuls of Reese's Pieces watching election returns last night. But that made my day. Thank you so much for that, Abby. I've also maybe or maybe not had a whatchamacallit bar or two.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Abby, thank you for that. We've got stoppage time. We got more to talk about later.
Yeah, we do. We'll try to keep it a little more on the rails at 2 o'clock on the 92.9 The Game Facebook page.
You never know what can happen on stoppage time. So Facebook.com/929 The Game. We'll be with you at 2. Thanks, Mike.
All right, guys. Take care.
Be good.
Lots of stuff. When you look at the games tonight, I'll be curious to see which broadcast we get with that big Chicago game. I like both of those crews, actually. Callum and Kendra, the Minnesota crew. We get Chicago a lot because they do stuff with ESPN Plus directly in the Chicago market. Tyler Terrans and Tony Miola are fun. Tony Miola has really become good at what he does. I like his kind of grumpy bear kind of persona at times. It's really funny.
No, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, he doesn't have that accent at all, but
no, I know, but it's just what are you doing? You don't want to do that. Put the ball in there like that.
That's not it. That's not even close. I don't even know what
it's
that
not
is.
It's not meant to be a Miola impression. It is just context of what he says.
I don't even know what's going on with that. I got nothing. I'm being called out on the Twitch pitch to sample this.
Yeah. Oh, you got one.
God, John gets more excited about a candy bar than anything else. It's so funny. What does this thing say it has in it? It has rich caramel, milk chocolate, crispy crunchies.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Chris Rabel says very nice things about our radio crew. Thank you, Chris. There's a lot of good crews around the league, and some of the stuff you get on Sirius XM too. It's and some radios around the league. It's the TV ported over, and that's difficult. I think in that case, you kind of have to call it more of a radio style, which is not a big deal to me in terms of a stream or in terms of a TV call. It is for some. Some look at TV as a very different kind of call. I think if you watch a game in Spanish and then you listen to a game in Spanish on radio, there's not that big of a difference.
Right.
But in English, there's a much bigger difference. We call a straight-up radio call. We call it very, very radio style and very, very descriptive, and that's the way that works for us. Okay, Domer says it's a crunch bar wrapped around chewy caramels. What I'm getting into.
So and just to now, do you have liquid with you?
Yes, I have liquid with me.
Okay,
I'm just going to tear off a little piece.
To give you a bit of a warning. That nougat that you see right there as you're watching on the Twitch
That's called caramel, John. It's not nougat. What are you talking about with nougat?
The caramel that you have detached from the bar itself.
No, I didn't detach it. It's inside of it. It's just very stringy.
From the other side. Well, it's also very, very thick, and it takes a little bit more to wash it down than normal because it'll get stuck to your teeth. I can tell. Tastes pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. But like I said, I mean, it is very, very chewy, and it sticks to your dental work. That's the only detraction is that you're trying to finish it, and because of the caramel, it continues to stick with you for longer than you would like sometimes. Because
there's a lot of caramel going on there.
Yeah. If you're in a rush to get something done, like finish the candy bar, you can't because the caramel sticks with you.
No, it's not one you can eat real fast because that caramel just keeps on going. It just keeps on going. It's good. No, it's good. It is a Nestle Crunch wrapped around a Rolo.
Yes.
Except the Rolo caramel is a little bit lighter. It's not quite as thick. No, it's good. It's a good candy bar. And it's not dusty either, like I was afraid it might be.
No.
I'm not putting it in the fridge. There's no way I would put that in the fridge, Domer. That would get completely out of hand with that caramel.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and it would take like 9 days for that thing to thaw out if you did 100 grand.
That's no good. Breaking news with John Nelson.
From the North Carolina Courage, Jaylene Daniels announces retirement after playing 6 years of professional soccer. She's announced her retirement from professional soccer with 6 years in the NWSL, played 2 seasons with the Western New York Flash before they were relocated to Cary, North Carolina as the North Carolina Courage. Quoting Daniels, playing for the North Carolina Courage for the past 4 years has truly been a gift and an honor. North Carolina is a special, special place, and I will always hold it near and dear to my heart. Paul Riley, quote, Jaylene is unquestionably the best left back in the world, the complete modern fullback, tremendous engine speed delivery, brilliant going forward, and tough to beat one-on-one. It's been amazing to see her growth and development into a fabulous player. It continues down. She's courageous, strong, and a brave woman that I'm privileged to have coached. You can't replace Jay, but you can look back and know that she had a marvelously successful career.
She did. She was a very important player for the Courage. Yes, there have been issues on the U.S. women's national team front in that. Now, those are always going to be part of her, I think, professional legacy. But on the field, no question, she's been one of the best outside backs in the league in the NWSL. So that's going to be something the Courage are going to have to figure out, because now, they've lost Daniels, they've lost Crystal Dunn, they've lost Sam Mewis. That's a lot to rebuild if you're the North Carolina Courage.
So she announced that on her Instagram simultaneous to her announcement that came out through the North Carolina Courage that came out this morning.
Okay. We have not gotten into one of the items on the rundown just yet. Piojo, Miguel Herrera.
Right.
So Miguel Herrera spoke to, I believe it was Marca Claro, and said that he prefers that any next step leaving Club America would be to Europe. He's been at Club America since 2017. He was at Tijuana before that. He was with the Mexican national team in the 2014 World Cup and then in the 2015 Gold Cup. And then he punched a reporter in, I think, the airport in Philadelphia, and then was fired and went to Tijuana and did well, and then came back to Club America where he had been before. So his name has come up a lot with the LA Galaxy. His name has been mentioned a lot as somebody Atlanta fans would like to see. I would like to see him in this league, and if he came to Atlanta, I would be very happy to see it. His quote is, I've always said that if I immigrate, my priority will be Europe, but I don't see MLS negatively because it is growing. So, I mean, it's not a completely like, I wouldn't go there, but it's, I want to go to Europe next. If he was fired at Club America, I think we're having a different conversation.
Right.
But I don't think he leaves on his own to go to MLS. I think he would leave to go to Europe. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Where do you think he would fit in Europe?
I have no idea. I mean, you have had Mexican managers go to Europe. Javier Aguirre, who we'll get into in a minute. It's happened, but it hasn't happened at a lot of different places. I would say Spain would be the most obvious one. Where in Spain? I mean, you're probably talking a mid-table to lower mid-table team, but I think he would want that opportunity to go, and he would take that. So if anybody in the bottom half of La Liga came calling, I think he'd be very interested. I don't think he's going to get fired at Club America, so I don't think he comes to MLS this time around. I do think he will manage an MLS before his career is over. I really, truly do. I just don't think it'll be right now unless somebody, and I just don't know if they're going to come at him with the blow-away kind of contract that you would need to get. I think it would be a mid to bottom tier La Liga team that he would go to. Now, Javier Aguirre. So this has come up a couple of times. We've mentioned it, and Aguirre said, first he said it separately, then he said it on Counterattack on SiriusXM-FC with Tony Miola with Brian Dunseth, that he has been contacted directly by 2 MLS teams. He spoke and said that he's currently weighing his options between those MLS clubs and other opportunities in Japan and in Spain, where he's currently based. Managed in Spain for a long period of time. He had previously said, now this is an update on what he had said previously. So previously he had said he had been in the mix for a couple of MLS jobs that went to other people. But he still likes the idea of what MLS is doing. He talked about how he would get an opportunity to build. There wouldn't be the same kind of pressure that there is in some other countries in terms of you have a couple bad results, you're fired.
You're right.
Not pressure. He didn't say that in a negative sense at MLS. He said actually as a positive. Like you get time to coach. You get time to build a project. Now, since that interview, he has said that he has been interviewed by 2 teams. Well, MLS and their website says, Javier Aguirre says he's been interviewed by 2 teams in the league. SiriusXM-FC says, I have 2 MLS teams that have contacted me direct. Those are 2 different things. Let's see if this clip is... It's short. So this is from Counterattack, and SiriusXM-FC has this on Twitter, posted on November 2nd.
Yes, I had already a couple of interviews with MLS teams, of course. And yes, there are rumors, but honestly, so far I have two teams that contact me direct. So, well, I did the interview. They have my CV, and that's it. You know what? Now is coming 2 or 3 games more, and the league is coming to the end, and there's going to be playoffs. So we are thinking about January. So I have time to wait until January. But
okay, so that's where Javier Aguirre stands right now. He said both, so I get where the back and forth is. He said he has interviewed with 2 teams. Now, my question would be, the teams previously that went in a different direction, were those the 2 he interviewed with, or has he interviewed with 2 teams that haven't made a decision that he's kind of thinking about for January? Because he's got other options he's considering as well. Don't know. And we'll see what else gets said. But Aguirre is doing what managers with a pedigree and a CV do right now. They're talking because they want to stay front of mind with different places. I'm intrigued by it. I want to see. Now, he can be a little pragmatic, and not in the positive sense of that. He can be defensive. He is going to play to get results. He is not somebody who is as concerned with style. Would that fly here? You guys would have to tell me. I want both, but if I had to pick one or the other, I want the team to win.
Yeah.
I want to build the style, but I want the team to win. I don't just want style without results. Now, people have said that that's what they want. They want style. They want attacking soccer. They don't care about the results. But then people get worked up about the results. So I don't know if that's actually true. That would be fascinating when it came down to Aguirre. He's got the track record. He's got the CV. He's got the experience. Big-time experience. Coming into Atlanta, dealing with the pressures of being at Atlanta United, where they're expected to win every trophy they play for, he'd be okay with that. He's used to that. He's been in that world. So those things are very important. He fits the, I think, profile of what Atlanta United has hired in the past. A name. Now, he's got more of a pedigree than Frank de Boer had. He's got a more high-profile pedigree than Tata Martino had, to be perfectly honest, because Tata had his 1 season at Barcelona. He had his a little over a year with Argentina. Outside of that, it was at Newell's. It was in Paraguay. You look at Aguirre and his managerial history. You're talking about Liga MX with Atlante and Pachuca. You're talking about a World Cup in 2002 with Mexico. Then Osasuna, Atletico Madrid, 7 years in Spain there, comes back to Mexico. Then Zaragoza, Espanyol from 2010 to 2014. Then he went to Japan for a little while. Then he went to the Middle East, went to Egypt for a minute, last at Leganés. And remember, Leganés lost Braithwaite and got relegated. That affected his performances at Leganés. Do they stay up with Braithwaite, or if they could actually go replace him? Maybe we're having a different conversation. Maybe Javier Aguirre is not out of a job. But that's a lot of La Liga experience. That is extensive La Liga experience. He would be the most experienced manager at the highest levels that Atlanta United has had, if he is the guy. So keep that in mind. My question would be about balancing the idea of this team needing to be an attacking team, needing to go out and score a whole bunch of goals, with winning games and the expectations of trophies. That is the balance that there have been questions about Aguirre and how open he would be with his teams. So we'll have to see. But that's really, really interesting that he is so vocal in saying, yes, I am interested, and yes, I have had interviews.
Yeah, that was what Ricky Ricardo had brought to the table this morning over on the Twitter side of things, if we had seen that. And so thank you for putting that up there this morning.
All right, what else we got on Twitter that we have not touched on?
Nathan Pugh, after getting into the kombucha juice box discussion with you, he wants to know what kind of juice box you're going to put up against the Reds next time they play Atalanta with a winking emoji.
Well, it's in England, so the odds are going to be even higher. So, and we'll probably be into Thanksgiving. No, it's next week. No, it's not next week. It's going to be later. So, yeah, we will be into the Thanksgiving side dishes. So it'll be a Thanksgiving side dish that I really hate, if I even decide to put that on it. And I probably won't after this performance.
Sweet potato casserole with marshmallows baked in?
John, you have horrible food takes, and you should stop doing that. This is going to get you in trouble. I just already know. Sweet potatoes are generally recognized as a good food.
Okay, you can have mine.
Yeah, I know. You've already said that many, many times. You're going to get in lots of trouble with the Thanksgiving side dishes. I can already see it coming. I don't.
Why? Just because I'm going to let other people eat what I don't eat?
No, because you have horrible food taste. That's exactly why. And you know this. I don't like the marshmallows in my sweet potato casserole. Don't get me wrong, but yes, people are screaming. I already knew this was going to get out of hand. Yeah, things are going to get really rough, and when we get into those predictions, I am totally with the no marshmallows, Jason Nix. I'm not a marshmallow fan of my sweet potatoes, but yes, I want my sweet potato casserole. People are grabbing pitchforks now. It's getting out of hand.
You can have mine.
Yeah, I'll have to think about what Thanksgiving side dish that I hate the most that I would put there, but it would be one of those. And I don't even know if I'd do that, because after this performance, I think Atalanta isn't going to Anfield and getting anything, Nathan. So there you go.
Katie Wearamask is in this morning, and she's feeling super nervous about the Midwest at tonight's Minnesota-Chicago match, of course.
Of course. I am hoping for, and maybe I'll have to listen to Prince for a while to give Minnesota some good vibes today. I am hoping for a Minnesota win and a pull-apart slap fest that gets Pineda and Madron yellow cards, and they are not in the match on Sunday. And if you want to get Calvo a red card, sure, why not?
That sticks?
Yeah, that actually sticks this time. Give me all of that chaos, as well as a Minnesota 1-0 win on a deflected goal by Reynoso.
There you go.
I'll be good with that.
Matt Wagner's in. He apologizes if this was answered yesterday and missed it. He's curious to know how long you think 5 subs will be allowed. Is it mainly being done now due to schedule compression?
Yes, it is being done down to schedule compression. We've already seen the Premier League say they're not doing it, and they're not, and people are not happy because you're seeing muscle injuries in the Premier League because you're playing a whole bunch of games. It's stupid that the Premier League isn't doing it, but that's why it won't last very long, because of that mentality. So I think after this current season in Europe, they'll go back to normal if they're back on a normal calendar. MLS will be the question, because they won't change in mid-season. If the 21 calendar looks compressed, they will stick with 5. And it very well could. If it looks more like a normal schedule with days in between games on a regular basis, they'll go back to 3. MLS will be the weird one, but the next European seasons, I think everybody will be back to 3.
And then the last one on Twitter for the Morning Chiefs coach, Steve, says, if we really want to have spirited discussion...
Well, we haven't? Okay.
Let's talk about stuffing variations.
Oh, boy. That's going to be a whole topic in and of itself, because there's first stuffing and dressing that are two different things.
Yes.
They get used interchangeably. They're not. One is literally stuffed in the bird, and the other isn't.
Yes. Right.
That stuffing and dressing are two different things. Mm-hmm. And then all the different variations you can have with them, for sure. Modaflow comes in with the hot take of the day. Thanksgiving food isn't that great.
Wow.
Man, Modaflow?
Wow.
I got to disagree with Modaflow on that one. I do. It's pretty good stuff. I really like good turkey done like that. I like ham as much, and I'll have both. But I really like good turkey. Turkey can be very bad. Turkey, it's a fine line, and I got to have the good gravy to go with it. So
yes,
but I like the sweet potatoes. I like some of the different casseroles that come out on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I like Thanksgiving food, Modaflow.
Yeah, I'm a ham guy, although I will eat turkey, but it just can't be like incredibly overcooked and dry.
I will eat turkey.
I will. It's there. It's there.
John and his 8-year-old food stylings. Man.
So, but yeah, I'm a dressing stuffing guy.
Which one?
Stovetop stuffing instead of potatoes.
So that's dressing, actually. Unless you're putting it in the bird.
Right.
So which are you doing?
Well, since I
why am I asking you? Because you're not allowed in the kitchen. My bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I don't see it being stuffed physically in the bird.
And you don't know the difference.
Say dressing, unless I physically see it go into the bird and come out of the bird, then I would have to say stuffing. I mean dressing by default.
You could ask, is it being cooked in the bird? Question about Columbus and potential suspensions on yellow cards. They have a couple. Luis Diaz and Harrison Offal are on the tightrope. So those are your two possibilities. Man, all kinds of stuff today. Lots of games all day. I think we can all use the distractions. When you have to pull yourself away, you've got soccer there for you. We'll be tweeting about it. We got stoppage time at 2 o'clock as well. Stoppage time, facebook.com/929thegame. So you can watch it too. We'll get deeper into Atlanta and Columbus. Also Columbus and Orlando tonight. Also Chicago tonight. All of the permutations of the playoff picture. I will hopefully have my 100-gram candy bar eaten by then.
You're still chewing it?
It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm going to take care of that now that we're done with the show. So you guys can keep preparing your Thanksgiving meals. That's a lot of that in the Twitch pitch. Good stuff. I'm very interested to see where this goes. Abby, I do not want the marshmallows on top of the sweet potato side dish. I'm not a fan of the marshmallows in there. I just want the sweet potatoes. And John doesn't want them. You can have his, which he says every time the word sweet potato comes up because he gets scared of it. He's terrified of sweet potatoes.
It's not scared. It's just I don't like it.
You're scared. I don't like it.
I don't. What? So
you're Mikey from the Life cereal commercials now. If we're going with old school,
and I'm also
references.
The guy that eats one thing at a time. I don't mix all my food on the plate and then eat this morass of everything that's been put together on the plate. I'm the guy that will eat one thing, then go to the next, then go to the next, then go to the next. Oh, okay. Homemade cranberries or out of the can?
It's one of the rare things that out of the can is good.
Attaboy.
I do like homemade cranberries too, though, but the out of the can is good too. They're almost like different things.
Yeah, it is definitely a different taste that comes from the one that's out of the can versus the one that's homemade.
You don't like the one that's homemade?
I just kind of grew up on the one that was out of the can.
No, so that's fine, but you don't like you do. You have tried both, right? You're not afraid of the other.
I prefer the can version.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't prefer the canned version, but the canned version is fine in that.
Yeah.
Ridges are nothing, according to Ricky.
Exactly.
We're going to save the pie discussion, Jill. We're going to save the pie discussion because that could take all day. You guys can hang out on the Twitch pitch. See, this is why we need the Discord. So you guys can do all this conversation when we're done, and you feel like you can just keep going. You can keep going on the Twitch pitch chat. It does stay up.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave. I'm going to leave anyway.
I'm going to leave.
And
I got a thing.
John's got things that he's got to go do with GPB and high school football. I've got stoppage time to prepare for. I've got notes to work on with Columbus. I will be taking notes watching the match tonight. All of that stuff. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully we were a good distraction for those of you who needed it. Hopefully you got some good soccer knowledge from us, or you just got to laugh at our silly food takes. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for telling everybody about the show, as always. thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow morning, normal time, for a Thursday Thoughts edition of the show, and we'll see you then. Mucho platio.
Mucho platio.